Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to extract relevant keywords and entities from articles using GPT-4 and a few other tools that I've shown in my past videos. So today's real goal is to create a highly optimized article that contains helpful content on a specific topic we are targeting.
How to create a blog using GPT-4 using ZimmWriter TypingMind.
We're going to achieve this using keyword research, competitive analysis on our topic. This could be any topic you're interested in or whatever article you're trying to write. Some of the tools that we're going to be using today is going to be ZimmWriter, as I've featured and utilized in some of my other videos. I'm also going to be using TypingMind, which essentially is an enhanced UI for ChatGPT. Personally, I like to use it. I like the workflow it provides in the feature set. I don't use ChatGPT Pro. I'm not a subscriber to that. But TypingMind leverages your API key. So you still have access to different models if you'd like to use them. And also they just came out with another feature that allows you to still use plugins without being a ChatGPT user or ChatGPT Pro or Plus user. I believe they have a lifetime deal and it's all web-based too, the tool. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. All the links will be in the video description if you want to check them out. You sign up. I am affiliate of some of these tools. You don't have to buy them or purchase them using my affiliate link at all. I just want to be able to put together a list of tools that are helpful to me, how I benefit from them, and how you guys can too. And then lastly, we have Ahrefs is a Ahrefs keyword generator. So this is completely free, and it gives you a little peek into some of the features that a paid Ahrefs account would give you for doing some quick, small little keyword research. It's a good free tool that not too many people know about that's provided through Ahrefs. So I'll be showcasing that here today. Then I'm also going to be showing you the specific system instructions or the character that I'm using to get the output that I want from ChatGPT or OpenAI. And then we have a prompt that I'm going to show you how to actually extract the keywords and entities from a specific article or multiple articles. So let's get right into it. So starting with the keyword research, let's go ahead and move this over to the side, and we'll bring in our other window here just to kind of get things started. There we go. So for example, let's say I was looking for, how to build a mechanical keyboard or something like that. It's a hobby I am actually into and I do on the side, but maybe I wanted to learn a little more about it. So let's look at build custom mechanical keyboard. So you can use this tool here and we can get some quick initial information. So what I really want to look at here is to see, is this keyword difficult to rank for according to Ahrefs? So the keyword difficulty is a 28. Search volume is pretty low, but I'm sure there's a bunch of other how-tos, where to, and all their long tail phrases that are going to match with this search. But I just want to understand my initial target term or topic. What does the keyword difficulty look around that? Now we only get a peek into this using the free tool, but it's a good starting point. So that way I can go ahead and take my query again, open up a Google search. All right, I can actually see the SERP here just to get an idea, but also we are able to, don't really pay attention to this plugin information on the side. I have a Keyword Surfer paid account momentarily, and you won't really have access to this data, I believe, to the plugin, or you might. I forget if the plugin, the Chrome extension, Keyword Surfer actually provides it for free or not. But what you can utilize is just the SERP like I did here. You can see what actually ranks as I clicked and did some initial research earlier. But what we really want to find out is, or look at, is to see some of the other related terms as well. Right, so as I'm typing this, what are some of the other related searches that actually come up here that we know we might have a chance to rank for if we write an article about building custom mechanical keyboards? So I'm going to keep this SERP up because I think I'm going to go ahead and target this, how to build a custom mechanical keyboard. That's pretty, in terms of what Ahrefs is telling us, is pretty low in competitiveness. Take this with a grain of salt, but this is what a free tool is going to allow you to do and give you some insight onto. So I want to be able to provide a way or share with you guys a tool that helps you kind of understand that, because every keyword tool that allows you to do research, every keyword research tool is going to cost money. But this is one free way to look at some of that data. Very small subset. Okay, so we have our topic. I'm going to copy that. And usually keyword research is a little bit more extensive than this, but this is really just trying to find out the topic, doing some very high level initial research. Like I said, finding out if the difficulty and the volume kind of fit what we're looking for, and if there's any other potential possibilities to rank for any longer tail keywords, which it looks like there might be. and competitive analysis on the topic. So what I like to do here is I would get a list of obviously the top performing keyboards here. I mean, top performing articles here about how to building your mechanical keyboards. We're going to open some of these up. This looks like a guide. Switch and click is a guide. So maybe the top 3 or 4 step by step. And then this one just looks like a homepage to where you can buy keyboards. So this is a category page. Looks like that's ranking on here. So that's number 1. High purchase intent. Understand some of that as well. Second page is a guide. One of the third pages, I think, ranking or 4th is a guide, and then another guide. So there's 3 guides ranking for this particular query within the search we just did. So we can still have an opportunity to rank our page, right? You want to understand what types of paging are ranking for that keyword as well. So what I want to do now is we've used Ahrefs to figure out some of that information. We did a quick SERP here, SERP check here. What's cool to do this with is now I'm going to take just some of these URLs, I copy them. So I'll create a new section here, competitors, taking, you want to take your notes as you're going along with this and just keep track of the work you're doing. So I'll copy these and I can always reference them back. Here we go. So I got some competitors here. And now we can go ahead and start looking at the prompting and doing a little bit more dissection on, the keywords we should target, what headings or what should our outline look like for this type of article, and what information do we have to feed into ZimmWriter. This is another tool that you guys have seen me use in some other videos. So we can, specifically what I want to do is focus on building out the SEO blog writer. So I've seen a lot of videos or a lot of users with ZimmWriter leveraging tools like Phrase or Neuron Writer, but those are paid tools and not everyone was able to get access to the lifetime deals. So again, this is another workflow that can help you kind of overcome that a little bit with some of the data we're able to pull. So in terms of a blog post title, right, we can do things like this. So I want a blog post title. We know what our keyword is. So what we can do is I'm going to bring up TypingMind here, TypingMind. Okay. So TypingMind, again, it's just like it says, a better chat UI for GPT. So I've used it for creating scripts to scrape web page headings, creating a URL structures, and giving some recommendations there. I can link that. That actually was a test. And then I can also create folders, right? So I created folders for SEO practices or building out different summaries on editorial, like summarizing PDF documents, right? So just leveraging some of the features here. So a quick overview, you can change your models here. So, right, I have access to GPT-4. So I use GPT-4. You can switch to the 3.5 or 3. I have plugins enabled. So they have a few different plugins like web search, simple calculator, JavaScript interpreter, and you can actually create your own plugin. They have some characters to select from. So some personas or models, right, that have some instructions on how they should respond to a user's input, right, within ChatGPT. We've seen this before. Some of you may have seen this in OpenAI's Playground, right? You can kind of play with this, but I can do this all from a ChatGPT UI-like experience. And I also have some custom ones. One of them, which I'll be sharing with you today, they have a prompt library. So it's, if you don't already have your own curated list of prompts that you've discovered since GPT has been released to the public, they have some here that are also community fed. Right, so we have a way to contribute, but also a list of them here. And then, of course, you can upload a document. You can either put some text input or upload a PDF and utilize that context to and communicate and chat with that specific text. Whether it's using it's like using your own data, right? And you can use ChatGPT to kind of communicate with it. So if I uploaded a PDF, I can then ask questions around that PDF's topic, and based on the information in that PDF, now that your model for that session has learned all that information, it can give you some output back on that. So it's pretty cool stuff, all right into one app. You can see I'm activated and it's using my API key. So what I want to do is I can create a new folder as well. And we can just do this for like YouTube tutorials, right? So then I can create a new chat, which I'm already in. And now, so we want to get a blog post title. What I can do is, or what I like to do first is I'll take maybe one of these, or I'll look at the actual page here. And what I did before is you can do this in ChatGPT as well, but in TypingMind's interface, I created a page, right? Or how to scrape a page. Actually, this is not the one. So we'll start from scratch here. So I'll select my character. I'm going to select software developer. This one's pretty good. It just acts as a software developer programs, because all I wanted to do is I just want to say, create a script or create a Chrome marklet that scrapes the let's see. So if we go back to our SERP, I forget. So what I'm trying to do is scrape the titles that we see in the SERP. So I think they're classified as H2s, H3s. So I'm going to create a bookmarklet that scrapes the H3s on the SERP page, so Google search page here, and collect them all in a notepad. So what I want to do is create a Chrome bookmarklet that scrapes H3 heading tags and copies them into a list form on my clipboard. Computers. So now using GPT-4 and making the request I did, it's going to put this out and give me a script that I can run. So I can just save it as a bookmarklet, right? So all I have to do is copy this code, right? So it tells you how to do it. So we can right click, add a page. What we're going to want to do is paste that code there. And I'm just going to say H3 scrape. I'm just going to name it. And then in the URL itself is where you paste the code that it gives you. So I hit save there. And I'm just going to drag it over here so we can easily see it. And it's going to copy H3. So now on any web page, you click the bookmarklet, it will scrape the H3 headings and copy them to your clipboard. Note that an alert will pop up indicating if it was successful or if there was an error. So what I want to do now is go to my SERP page, and all I have to do is hit my bookmarklet now, and it says copy to clipboard. So now if we come back over here to my Obsidian note here, I'm going to go ahead and add SERP scrape section here, and I'm going to paste it. So you can actually see that it grabbed all of the title tags essentially that are on this page. And it looks like it went all the way down to custom mechanical board builder. So copy all the way down to this one. So right before the related searches is where it copied up until. So now we know, and we have, I can read the sponsored, we have an idea of some of the actual title tags that were created or being utilized on the actual SERP itself. So what I can do is I can copy this list, right? That we have an idea now, and I could say, I can go back into TypingMind. So this is a pretty standard workflow, new chat. Now, what I want to do here is leverage some of the system instructions and character that I was talking about earlier. So I grabbed this language model. So it uses LLM, but it's really fine-tuned for SEO. And this was shared in a Discord called Sunspot, the Sunspot Discord. And pretty much it's a fine-tuned model that can be used in the instructions for ChatGPT to enhance the output we're getting from an actual one of these characters or one of the personalities of the AI, right? So in this case, it has a bunch of variables and things that I don't really understand that fine-tune this even more. So I'm going to leave a link down this in the description. And what we really want to do is just copy this whole thing here. I already have it saved, so you just copy this whole thing here. And if you're using ChatGPT or if you are using TypingMind, all you would do is actually paste this initially in your chat here, hit send, and then we're going to get a prompt back that shows us that it's actually using all the above the role. See, so we got there, hello, I see you have some SEO work to do in the field. In order to craft an effective strategy, it gives you like an introduction of how to craft some compelling content, as they say. You don't have to follow this, but this lets us know that it is working and it's using all the parameters set here. If I do a new chat, the cool thing about TypingMind is if I select a character, I can actually add characters. Close that, select character, cancel, which I already did here. I added this one here. So if you see, I added a title, and then in the instructions is where I added this whole kind of role that's been adopted here with the fine-tuned parameters and things like that. So I added it here so I don't always have to continue to copy and paste it. That way, when I just go here, I can select a character, select my LLM SEO, and now it says you're chatting with this specific model. I have my plugins enabled in case I need to do some web searching on the fly. But now what I want to do is just say, using these page titles, using the page titles listed below, generate a article title. So I'm going to go back to my document. I'm going to take that list of page titles for a blog and go here. And what it said, this actually is in OpenAI's documentation. If you wrap your content that you want it to reference, just like this. So if I say using the page titles listed below, and I create this like brackets, kind of like HTML markup, page titles, and then close it like this. This actually helps the prompt understand what you're referencing when you say page titles or article, and if you put your list in between that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete some of these ellipses here that we don't need, and some of this unfinished or some of the stuff that has branded in it, we can remove. Some of these have the branded appended to the end of the title tag. Okay, this looks good. And I'm just going to hit send. So now it's using the model we implemented before and also leveraging some of the titles that we scraped from the SERP to give us our own page title. So creating your unique game experience, comprehensive guide on designing and building your own mechanical keyboards. So that's one variation here. So what you can also do is, if you want a little bit more variety, you can fine tune this even more. So you can say, using the page titles listed below, generate a list of 5 article title recommendations for a blog. Sure, the page title is straightforward, but contains punchiness. Let's try that. Cool. So we have DIY gear, gamer, straightforward guide. I wouldn't use that one. Cost of craftsmanship, clicking into customization, switch to smarter gaming keyboard instructions. I would probably use something like this. Do an easy step-by-step guide to building your mechanical keyboard. So let's say I wanted to leverage just that portion for our blog writer. So now we have our blog post title, right? An easy step-by-step guide to building your mechanical keyboard. Now you can add in ZimmWriter. So now we're using another tool, ZimmWriter. You can add some global background here. So we can actually paste in a URL to give us some global background in terms of what we're talking about. So I can paste in like our competitor URL in here. So say we want to use this Kinetics Labs URL to feed into the content we're trying to build, and we can do that as well. Now I also like to go ahead and view these pages. You can also get this so it's not too distracting. Focus on my extension. We get this extension called Detailed Chrome Extensions Headings, so we can get a heading count. So we come down here, we see there's 1 H1, 10 H2s, 24 H3s, and you can actually see what they're breaking out into H2s and H3s. Pretty thorough, built out guide. So that gives us an understanding. This is ranking, in the top spot, right? In terms of right under that store page that has more of a buyer's intent, and above the video page, which of course is informative, that can also sway into a customer buying right through the page. And this is right there in the third spot of the organic search results. So what we want to do now is we have kind of a baseline, initial baseline, right, of H1s, H2s, H3s that we should contain, how many images, links, so on. And then the actual headings here, we actually see the layout for this specific page here. So it's more to understand. It's another free tool you can get to understand the format or layout of a competitive article. So now I have an idea of maybe where I want to set my H2 subheadings from within ZimmWriter. You can come over to the other competitor page, do the same thing. I'll look at some headings. They got 21 H2s, 17 H3s, 24s. You can see some of the H2s are like about us, affiliate disclosure, conclusion, editor picks. So they're not really a part of the article. But you can see most of them, they're using H2s, right? They're just kind of nesting everything in here. So in terms of total H1s, you can see step 3, 4. The big thing is H2s, 21. They're just kind of formatting their page a little bit different. And then finally, our other article here has about 14, 15 total heading tags. I would say in this case, 14, not including this most popular at the end. Or I guess we can. If it's most popular keyboards, then that would make sense. If it's something else like most popular articles, then does it contribute here? So I'm going to say we shoot for something around, you got 10, you do 10 H2s, right? Do 10 H2s and then enter. Then for each H2, generally speaking, for this article, we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 6, 6. It's not on all of them either. So, right, we can specify what we want to build. So now we actually have some information here. So in ZimmWriter, you can actually use the global background to build your H2s or H3s, or you can generate it using AI. So it's going to use an actual prompt that's built into the tool to generate H2s only using AI, or you can copy from your clipboard, right? You can paste them in, copy H2, 3 from a clipboard and paste them in, or input them yourself. So there's a few different options here. So what I like to do is play around with it a little bit. What happened here? We want 10, and we don't want this here. There we go. And so it says use H2s from AI, competition H2, H3, or from your global, which is up here, global B, global background. So what I can do is, since I have this here, I can find H1 in the page to scrape. Let's see. No, there's a H1 there. So let me see if my settings need to be changed. Advanced triggers. Nope. Option menu. I'll use the Scrape Owl API. So this is, usually it'll actually grab what's there, but this is sometimes the issue I've been coming up with hitting when it came to using the global background, being able to scrape a page. So I can show you a workaround. You know how we created a bookmarklet that scrapes the H2s or H3s? Well, we can just duplicate this. See, copy, paste. There's another one for H3. And if we edit this, I'm going to call this H2s. And there's just one area you got to edit here. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. I think it's this one here. So if I delete, change to H2, save. Or if you want, you can come back here and say, we'll go ahead and copy our previous message that we sent in the chat where we created the H3 scraper. And I'll say H2s. I'll hit send. So now it'll do that. So essentially when you see here, we're just changing H2 to H3 here, but some of you might be uncomfortable with editing that manually. So you can just come back here and change what you asked it to H2s. And now we'll have two separate quick little functions, right? Bookmarklets that can scrape the H3 or the H2 of the page. So here we go. I'll copy this code, go back to my H2. I'll edit this. I'll delete it. I'll paste it in. So now I can scrape H2s and H3s. And I'll come back to this page. And let's say we're under our competitor here. I'll say H2s. And I'll go to this page and I'll click our little scraper. Copy to clipboard. Those are the H2s, H3s. And then I'll come back to the article. I'll hit H3 scrape. Copy to clipboard. Paste. So now we have both. And we can verify this with the extension that we have. It's called Detailed SEO extension. Headings. You can see our H2s. See H3s. Where do we stop at H3? Step 5, using your keyboard is the last one. That's the last one we grabbed as well. And they didn't have any H4, so I didn't create one for that. But you can essentially do that as well. If you want to scrape the H1, there should be only one, which is the title, right? Or they might have it live within the content piece itself. Now, back in our document, so you can keep track of this. You don't have to separate the H2s and H3s when you're just taking notes. I just did that for the workflow, and this will go a lot faster. You just have them all. So what I would do is take something like this. I would cut it and go back. I just wanted to show you that it's pretty accurate. And then we can say competitor headings, competitive headings. All right, so we have that. We can go to switch and click. We can say scrape the H2s. So now we have a new list here. I'll show you. There we go. And then scrape the H3s. And we could clean this up too. Like I'm going to delete conclusion about us, editorial pics, recent content. We'll delete. Just want to review it. I'll combine it. And then for Tom's Hardware, our other competitor, same thing. Copy the H2s, do that. And you're just building out your list. So we're going to feed this into the AI. I'll copy our H3s, delete this. Some of these are going to be repetitive, right? Because they're around the same topic. Let's see, grab my H3s again, and I'll paste them. No H3s here. Oh, so don't have any H3s, so I didn't copy or paste anything. So, okay. So now I would take this list. We have our headings, right? So this is like, if you're using ZimmWriter, they have the feature again where you can paste in the URL. It should scrape it based on the scraping settings that you have established using your own IP, or you can pay to use a third-party IP, like a premium IP address, to scrape a website and grab the information. In this case, it wasn't working for this particular URL. So what I'm gonna do is delete that from my global background. And what I just showed you is the workflow you could use to grab your H2s, H3s manually, but like auto manually, right? Because we created a script we can now use continuously throughout any article building process, right? This is the first time, takes a little bit of time, but now they're always here. Now they live within your bookmarks, and you can use them, like, again, for your other workflows. So I'm gonna go ahead and now paste these into here. So let's say, actually, I make this in the list. Let's see, I'm gonna copy these, and we're gonna go to sheet.new, paste these in, copy. Sometimes when you put it in a sheet, it formats it a little bit better. Instead of it looking like a big paragraph like this, there we go. Kind of like a comma separated value type of thing. So you can do that. Just paste it in a quick G sheet if you want to format, or Excel. And now we have our list. So what I'm going to say is, for option 3, I'm going to say use H2s with this information to generate our H2s. I think there's actually a feature coming soon for ZimmWriter that's going to allow you to actually auto generate H3s as well. Right now you have to do the H3s manually. So what you can do is just input the H2s and then reference some of the H3s to create specific ones as well. So now I have these specific H2s. So why build a custom keyboard, choosing the right components, essential tools and equipment, testing, lubing, installing switches, soldering, keycaps, typing tests, post-build considerations. So this is all great. So now what I would say to do is I would actually copy these. I wish there was a better way to copy them all. And what we can do is come back into our chat here that we were completing in TypingMind using our SEO LLM model, or custom one here. And what we can do is I'm going to create a setting called headings, right? And I'm going to paste my headings there. Like I said, it's a little auto manually, but this is what's going to give us, I think, better output based on everything that we've set up so far to creating an article, because we're not using all the paid tools that can use to help speed this up. But to show you guys, there's still ways to do this. I wish there was a button here that could just say copy H2s. Maybe it's something we can ask Matt, who's the developer on ZimmWriter, to see if we can do that later on. Usually great with the user feedback, which is why I highly recommend this tool, because the developer is really responsive and it does great output. So now I'm going to put that, paste, and I'm actually going to call these H2s. So I'm just creating these again as a reference when I actually create my prompt here in a second. Considering the H2s listed below, generate 3 H3 subheadings, say 3 H3 subheadings for each H2 heading. This is for a blog titled, and then we'll give our blog title, so it just has that information as well, and then we'll send it. So let's see what we get. Considering the H2s listed below, generate 3 H3 subheadings for each H2 heading. This is for a blog, a little typo there, blog titled An Easy Step-by-Step Guide to Building Your Mechanical Keyboard. All right, so we had to make a little bit of an adjustment here. For some reason, it seems like it wasn't reading the brackets, and we were getting some kind of an unorganized output here. So what I did was I reworded the prompt. So for H2 headings listed below, generate 3 H3 subheadings for each H2 heading. This is for a blog title, and then the blog title. And then I said output each H3 subheading beneath the respective H2 heading. These are my H2 headings in a list, and then this is the output we were given. So what we can do now is, if I go back into ZimmWriter, we can go into hit 3 H3s, right? And I can actually, if I want, I can paste these in, and I may not want to use the whole version of it. So I could put keyboard advantages, custom specifications, right? If I want, and I don't even have to use them all. I'll just put 2 H2s. Choosing the right components. We can do choosing the right components. I'm going to put 2 of them here, right? I'll hit enter. So decoding switch preferences, linear, tactile, or clicky, selecting the best keyboard frame. And you could just edit these as you go. So under importance of a good PCB, I'll skip that. Essential tools for building the keyboard, protective gear, workstation, efficient build environment. If you want, I'll leave that the way it is. Testing and prepping the PCB, I'll leave that as it is. Lubing and modifying stabilizers. So we'll say we'll put 2 H3s. Actually, we'll keep it to 1 H2. Or, I'm sorry, 0 H3s. Installing switch plates, mounting your keyboard, avoiding installation mishaps, right? Soldering and assembly. This is if you need to solder. Some cases you don't, right? So you can get the whole specific build out. I'm not going to do that just because I don't want to add and make it too much of a long post here, but this is the prompt I'm telling you can use if you want to generate this H3 subheadings. Or another way you can do that is, now what we want to do is for each H2 length, I like to put it at medium for ZimmWriter. The voice, I'm going to do per second person. I'm going to do enable lists, enable tables. I'm not going to enable literary devices FAQ. I'm going to put FAQ with short answers. I'm going to say enable key takeaways, enable the T's. Conclusion, I'll keep personality. I like to use Sage. You're giving like an education. You're trying to educate, right? And I'll use auto style in this case. We're not using a product layout. If you want to make it more of an affiliate blog post where you reference or refer to affiliate products, you can do that. And then the last step is optional set keywords. So some people might have issues or say trouble because they don't have the paid tools to figure out what keywords they should use, right? So normally you would see videos, people using phrase keywords, then NLP, natural language processing keywords, or something like NeuronWriter that gives you a set of keywords you should use to optimize your article, or things like Surfer SEO would tell you that. Well, we can use a prompt to do this for us. And this is the other prompt that I had here as we come back to our list. Just minimize all these things first. The prompt that I have here, it's as simple as this. So I'm going to come in here and say, for the article below, extract relevant keywords and entities. What I'm going to do is go back into our first page, so our first competitor page, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight the whole thing. I'm going to highlight the whole article. And depending how long the article may depend if you can do this or not, because it does matter how many tokens or how many characters you're using. So I'm going to paste this, remove that last page there, and then I'm going to come back into that page. I'm going to grab the title, and then I'm going to wrap this so that the AI knows that this is an article and that this is the end of the article. I'm going to go ahead and send that. This model's maximum length 8,000 tokens, 9,000. So we might have to make this shorter because for GPT-4, there's a maximum token length. I don't have access to the extended model that uses like 32,000 tokens. So what we can do is we'll just edit this and we can come back into here. Let's say we want to remove a few things possibly, or remove some context out of here. Tuning how your keyboard sounds. So maybe we'll remove that section and then we can come back to it. Let's go back to here. Here we go. Tuning how your keyboard sounds. I'll remove this section because we could always come back and revisit that as well. So we still need to remove a little bit more. So I'm going to come back into my message here, hit edit, and I'm going to come back to the top. I'll get rid of the, let's see if that should be enough. I'm still about 7,000 tokens over. So let's see what we can remove to ensure that we can pull this information out. My recommendation, that's a specific, it looks like it's a specific recommendation. So this might be something we want to remove because it's based on the person's personal experience. So that might help shorten this article a little bit. We're still a little high. We got some duplicates in here for some reason. I don't know if that's going to be enough. We're still about 400 tokens over. So if we come back here, we remove that, installing switches, lubing. Where do I buy keyboard parts? So I'm going to probably remove that section. And we're getting closer. We're another 200 over. So it looks like, for example, we might be pushing keyboard layouts, top mounts, mount, PCBs. So a lot of the stuff before that, it's about. So we'll try to remove everything before that. And then we could always, if it's too long, you could always take it in snippets, right? You can do little pieces of the content itself and extract the keywords and entities out of it. So here we go. So once you do that, it'll give you a list of the keywords, right? So you can copy these and put it into ZimmWriter, so manual. And then you also take the entities. So we got two of the same there, and then we put that in there as well. So now you have some of the main keywords and entities that are involved in that specific article that will also, these are the main kind of topics that are talked about within the article. There may be some longer tail things that you may want to include, but this is a good way to initially kind of scan a specific page. So now if we do that for another page, like how to build a custom mechanical keyboard, this one, I don't know how long, if this one's as long as the other one. See what we can get out of it. Right, because this has tools, step 4. Let's see how long it is. This one actually looks like a pretty long one. So then I'm going to go into here. I'm going to edit my previous response because it just has the layout I'm looking for. Yeah, this one's over too. So you're going to have to play around with the length of these articles. This will happen in ChatGPT as well. So it's not a limiting factor to TypingMind. It's just that these are specific ones. All right, so this is the output we got from ZimmWriter. We have an estimate of about 65 cents, about 4,000 words. We have our Midjourney prompt we can use to create our featured image. We have a meta description here that was generated as well. So I'm going to bring us over into Phrase, and I have Phrase to calculate or look at the competitors. So it just looks at the top keyword. The top page is ranking for build custom mechanical keyboard. The same thing we were searching for manually here. And yeah, so we're going to hit optimize topic score. Right now it's empty. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our title that we had here. And then we're going to head and put in we have a table here, 2 tables. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Frequently asked questions. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to go into Markdown Converter and we'll go into Dillinger. I'll delete what I had here. And now it converts it. So we have a view that we can use in Phrase. Phrase doesn't support Markdown, so it wouldn't convert the headings. Heading tags. We're going to paste this in here. And I mean, we score higher than the average competitor, right? 15% is the average score across competitors. So we're beating the competitors according to Phrase, right? Again, you got to take these tools with a grain of salt, but this is how the output just on how we did some of the kind of the manual work, the auto manually, created headings using keywords. We didn't just put in things without any doing some initial research, right? So this kind of gives you a basic framework. Now, of course, you're going to want to add photos, images, maybe link to some videos, since there's a video that's performing well within this search query, right? Some visual aids here, like this article has some pretty good high resolution images on specific parts and steps of building a custom mechanical keyboard and the process. So that's going to also help the article itself if we add those in, right? Creating those. And ZimmWriter actually did have a setting here. If we come back to our SEO blog writer, let me come back into the window, and we can actually, there was a setting here. We could have actually enabled Midjourney prompts for each H2. So we could have seen what the AI or Midjourney prompts would have come out with for each H2 and utilize those Midjourney prompts, if you have a Midjourney account, to create the image and then actually add those AI generated images throughout your article. That's all going to be based off the specific H2. So we have that option here as well. I just didn't enable it, but that could be also a possibility as well. Now I'm going to go into, let's go to Neuron Writer and see how we score in the Neuron Writer. So I'm going to go into a new idea, and I'm just going to copy the same keyword we've been using. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to now build out some data. Pretty much does what phrase does, except in different formats. So we're just waiting for this to complete. It's at 16%. It's just literally performing a SERP, scrape, grabbing all the entities, titles, keywords, things like that. Kind of the same, long tail topic headers, clusters, and things that phrase has. And of course, there's some that we're missing in here, right? But we scored just based off the content itself. And we would just want to check how it reads as well before we go ahead and post anything. So content competitions around 15. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this now. So say we were looking at the top 10 competitors to rank against or to compete against. Let's check this one off. This kind of seems like an outlier. Maybe it wasn't able to scrape this site. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to input our whole article content into the editor just to see what, based off the workflow I just went through, how we score. So our title, I'm going to want to grab that. And here it is. Right, they actually created a meta description for us. So phrase doesn't take into account a meta description in this case when it's scoring, but Neuron Writer does. So I put in our meta. You could always fine tune this as well. What's great, I'll show you how to do that using ZimmWriter as well, which is why I like to use these kind of interchangeably in a workflow like this. So now I'll add our content. So I'll go ahead and copy I forget if Neuron Writer supports, it doesn't support Markdown, which is okay. So I'll just do the same thing I did before. Copy this and I'll paste it in. Then we have to take our title and we'll create this into an H1. And we're at about 51. Competitors best is 80. So that's out of the top 10 competitors. We only scraped and got data on, I think, what was it, like 3 or 4? Yeah, 3. So they're basing it off of 10 competitors. So not too bad, actually, taking that consideration in terms of the competitors. So if we were to actually do the same exact competitors, we can do that too. So say we only looked at Kinetic Lab, Switch and Click, and Tom's Hardware, right? We only actually did those 3 when we were competing or doing our competitive research. Now you can do more, do the first top 10 if you want, but I'm just going to compete against those 3. Those 3 are actually the best performing in terms of the content score that Neuron Writer is giving them. So, and they look like some of the lengthier ones as well. So I'm going to go ahead and update now this makes it, when it update the app, now this is going to make it that it's going to be a little bit more tough, right? But it's going to be geared towards what we were actually looking at as well. Same thing with phrase. Phrase looked at the top 10 when it gave us our score, our topic score. So if we optimize, our topic score here was based off the top 10 or 20, I believe, for this. Yeah, I believe so. So what we can do, if I come back to Neuron Writer, see we got 55. So out of those 3 is 55, which is not too bad considering we still need to add images, videos, and even fine tune this. Like I said, this shouldn't be a kind of a said and done output. You're definitely going to want to tweak this and add some, what is this? There you go. And add some more content to this and make sure that it reads nice and makes sense. I don't know why it has these little bookmarks here, but it does. So yeah, it's not too bad. And this is like just to show you an example of what can be done using some of these prompts and using some free tools. I'm just using Neuron to show you how this workflow would typically score if you're doing it this way. Using TypingMind or ChatGPT, I just find TypingMind's workflow to work better for me. and they have a lifetime deal. And I know the plugins, the support's been pretty great. And yeah, ZimmWriter can also be used in this case too. So for example, let's say I wanted to rewrite this specific description here. So what I can do is since ZimmWriter can work in any text field, what I have is I built some advanced triggers. So I need to close this first. I can do my advanced triggers. I have a rewrite command that I linked to Control-4. So what I have it to say is rewrite the text to improve the grammar, add contractions, write using the active tone of voice. So that's like my command. So what I would do is just highlight any text, or in this case, the meta description, hit Control-4. You see that ZimmWriter is now enabled. And there it goes. It wrote a revised version here. So unleash your inner tech guru, discover simple step-by-step guide to building your dream mechanical keyboard, ultimate customization and performance. The new one is follow a simple step-by-step guide to build your dream mechanical keyboard with ultimate customization performance. So it's slightly changed it a little bit. I actually like the revised version a little bit better. So discover simple step-by-step is just follow. So there might not have been that much tweaking to it. But you can also say, like, if you want to use a specific keyword in it, things like that. You don't have to use a magic command. I found that's one that's pretty general, and then I have it mapped. But you can also you could also write one just right here if you wanted to. So if I go back to ZimmWriter, advanced triggers, I'll just copy this, rewrite, I'll copy it, and I can just trigger my magic command normally using Control-1. So I'll say rewrite to improve grammar. I can write using active voice. I'll just say rewrite text to include the keywords, following keywords, right? And if you want to include some, you can say custom mechanical keycaps, switch lube, right? And then I'll highlight this. Actually, I'll cut this, paste, rewrite the text above, and then Control-1, I'll highlight it all. So now it'll take into account some of the extra instructions I provided here. So now we have, if I remove this, unleash your inner guru with a custom mechanical keyboard. Follow a simple step-by-step guide to build your dream keyboard, complete with personalized keycaps and switch lube for the ultimate customization and performance. All right, so I added it actually included more of what I was looking for tied to my command. Now, keep in mind, you want to keep your meta description within a certain length, right? But just showing you that we can use ZimmWriter to do our fine tuning, to actually write the whole article, but also using TypingMind commands with that specific system instructions, that prompt that I shared with you here to get a better output, I think, when it comes to the content. A good starting point to then add more useful media to it, like I said, videos or pictures. So hopefully this wasn't too long and you kind of understand this workflow. If you would like to see more like this, please just leave a comment and I'll be more than happy to share some more tips of, some prompt engineering and some other workflows that I have to create better content and, more creative ways to leverage AI. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching. Go check out our other video on how to build a whole blog using ZimmWriter. Pretty cool. See you in the next one.